it's Kai. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to a brand new speed build video. And in today's video, we are going to be building a house in the world of Evergreen Harbor. And Evergreen Harbor is the world that came with the Eco Lifestyle pack. And today we are going to be building an eco house, I would say, for a couple of grandparents and their granddaughter or grandson. It doesn't really matter which one because I didn't really have a proper theme for it. I just imagined that there are 3 Sims living here, but the main theme, of course, is a couple of grandparents, and I wanted to do that. And I was kind of inspired by Simlicy to do this build because I think she did something like this for Evergreen Harbor as well. But for the shape of the house, I wanted to I wanted to make sure it was consistent with the other houses that you see in this neighborhood. So I ended up just making kind of the same structure for this house. But I really hope you guys will like it. If you do like it, the house is already up in the gallery under my ID, which is simmerkhai. And I really hope you guys will like this build as much as I did. I really enjoyed furnishing the inside. Even though it's such a small space, the space was just enough for me to have fun with it. But basically for the color scheme, I was kind of like going for this baby blue color. So I ended up using a baby blue swatch from the base game. I think it is a paneled wallpaper swatch, which is light blue. And I'm really in love with the results because it is very cute in my opinion. But do let me know what you guys think in the comments, of course, if you want to. But anyways, you can see that the structure of the house pretty much came together pretty quick. And for the windows of this build, I didn't really know what windows to use for this build. So in the end, I ended up using the windows that came with the Snowy Escape pack. And I thought that they were so suitable for this build because they are very tiny and cute. And like it really suits the height of the walls as well, because the bottom floor ends up being the wall height, which is the middle height, I think, and the top floor is the smaller height. So I think that the height of the walls in this build were very suitable with the theme and also consistent with the debug houses that came with the Eco Lifestyle pack around this neighborhood. But as you can see, I also added these debug fences that came with the Eco Lifestyle debug menu, and I wanted to match it with the fences that the other houses use, so I ended up using these fences, and I think it is my first time using them properly for this one, and I really like it. Even though it kind of looks like rusty a bit, but I thought that the texture and style of the fences suited this type of house like the other houses that you see. But anyways, for the garden space also, there isn't quite a lot of space for the garden, but I ended up adding I think you called it a pot maker or plant arrangement table that came with the Eco Lifestyle pack, but I don't think it's functional because at first when I purchased this pack, I think it came out quite a while now, I think. But when I played with it and basically like just a normal gameplay, I didn't really use the plant station thing. I didn't think it was functional. I don't think it's functional actually, but if it is, please let me know in the comments if you do know, because I only played the Eco Lifestyle with my Sims like only for like 1 or 2 times, but then I stopped because I kind of got bored of it. But anyways, you can see that I already started working on the landscaping by first adding the fences just now, and I also ended up adding these bushes that came with the debug menu of the base game, which I rarely use, I think, and I thought that the landscaping for this build should be as simple as I could do it. So I ended up just basically using a lot of greens and a lot of whites instead of it being very, very colorful. And I also ended up adding those lavender debug items that came with the debug menu, of course, to match with the white type of flowers just now. And I thought that it was suitable for that. But I'm not sure if I mentioned this just now, but this house is for a couple of grandparents and their teenage granddaughter or grandson, and also this house ends up having 2 bedrooms for each of them and a lot of common spaces like dining room, kitchen, and also 2 sitting areas, which is one is the outdoor sitting area on the porch and the other one is the normal living room. And for the inside of this build also, I ended up not cluttering it a lot because I wanted to make it simple since it is a tiny space that I worked on. And I also added in those glass windows that you see here. And I initially wanted to make it a garage, but I didn't end up doing so because it kind of looked too normal for me, because I usually do builds like that with a garage at the side. So I just thought that for this build I would just make it not a garage. So I ended up adding those windows over there, which will be turning into a dining room. And yeah, the structure of the house is basically simple as well. I ended up using a lot of debug items as usual because I love debug items, and I thought that the debug item suit that I used suited very well for this build. So I really hope you guys will like it. But as you can see, I also ended up adding that truck in front because I thought that since I didn't put a garage in this build, I thought that I should at least include a car. And I also put a couple of solar panels on top of the roof over there, but I arranged it in a way that is not so common, or is not how I usually arrange them. It is like on the left side of the roof and is like stacked on top of each other, and I thought it was such a cute idea because I never do that usually for my builds, and I also rarely use solar panels for any of my builds actually. So I thought for this build I should make it an eco home, and even though it's an eco home, this house basically also ends up having a fireplace, I think, or not, I'm not so sure. But if it didn't have a fireplace, I ended up adding a chimney at the roof anyways, so I think I forgot when I furnished it. But yeah, you can add in a fireplace in here if you want to. But we are starting off with this interior right now, and the interior ends up having simple decoration, like I said, not a lot of clutter, and basically just I wanted to make the color scheme consistent with the exterior, so I ended up using blue and kind of this light brown for the kitchen and throughout this build as well. But I do end up putting a sink in here, which is next to the dustbin. The dustbin will be removed and placed elsewhere. But also when I was furnishing this build, I thought that, you know, since I wanted to at first do it like an open space area for the kitchen and also the dining room and living room, but in the end I ended up closing these spaces with walls because I thought that it kind of looked awkward, like there was too much space revealed. So I just wanted to get in my comfort zone a little bit and ended up adding a few walls to partition the areas to make it look more secluded and also more like lived in. And I thought that it looked great after. Even before, like it was okay, but I thought that adding the walls would make it much better. But I really hope you guys will like it. If you want to remove the walls, you can definitely do so. But yeah, before you download this house also, I would just like to remind you that you have to place the house. Before that, you have to enable the Move Objects cheat to make sure that any clutter that I place using the Move Objects cheat on will be working. So you will have to enter bb.moveobjects in the cheat bar before placing the build. But I think everything works perfectly fine for this build, even though I didn't really test it that much because when I'm pre-recording this voiceover, I didn't like do the families yet. I actually just downloaded a couple of grandparent sims from the gallery because I wanted to access the mother load cheat so that I could furnish the house properly without having any limits. But yeah, I think in the coming parts of the video, you will see that the exterior is colorful again. I think you saw just now that the exterior is kind of dull because the season that I'm currently playing in is autumn, so everything's just like dry and also everything is falling down. But I think in the end of the video it will end up having a colorful normal or summer type of vibe going on there. So yeah, you will see that after this. But anyways, the house also ends up having its own dining room over here where the glass windows are, and I wanted to keep the dining room as simple as I could, so I just ended up adding a bookshelf in here with a plant, I think, in the corner, and also just a painting in there, which I end up adding and replacing it with, I ended up replacing the window, the smaller window you see on the left side of the screen, to a painting. So I thought that it looked better like that because the height of the window is not so suitable because you have a couple of glass windows and then you have a smaller window over there. So I didn't think that it was suitable, so I just ended up replacing it with a painting instead from the seasons pack, which I rarely use as well, which is this orange farmhouse thing. And I thought that it looked suitable for this build as well, because considering the theme of this build, it is for a couple of grandparents with their teenage grandson or granddaughter. So I thought that the theme of the farm in the painting suited the theme that I was going for. But anyways, we are going to be furnishing the living room over here, and the living room ends up being really simple, with a couple of couches which I combined to make it look like it's an L-shaped couch. And I also included a rocking chair in this living room because I thought that, you know, grandparents are old and they would like want to do like knitting and stuff like that. So I ended up adding a rocking chair just in case you want to add a rocking chair. But I also ended up adding like a clutter of plants and also an ottoman over here in this, I'm not sure what window you call it, but it's from the laundry day pack. It basically extends outwards and you can basically place stuff on it, but you have to place stuff on it like from the outside part of the house, because if you place it from the inside of the house, it won't like let you like put the stuff on the wooden base you see over there. So I ended up having to like place the items from the outside, which I think is that I will be changing that to a, I think, cats and dogs plant. I'm not so sure myself actually, because I just got carried away when I finished this house. But I also ended up adding that TV stand that came with the tiny living pack, if I'm not mistaken, and I used the white swatch. And I kind of wanted to make the inside also as bright as I could so that it looked kind of bigger because it is a small house. So I ended up using a lot of like light colors, like light brown, light blue, and also white, and colors that are very, very bright. And yeah, this house also has a laundry room over here, which I wanted to make it at first a like half bathroom, but I ended up changing it to a laundry room instead because I figured that it should be easier for the grandparents to do laundry. I think if you don't have a washing machine and dryer in this, it would totally work like a perfectly normal house. Your Sims wouldn't like make messes out of their clothes. But I think if you have like any laundry day related items, even though they are not washing machines, they will tend to like make messes with their clothes. So I just added that washing machine and dryer for your convenience. But we are working on the top level of the house right now, and we are starting off with the grandparents' bedroom. And the grandparents' bedroom ends up being really simple and just very light colored in terms of its color scheme. And I also used that wardrobe that came with the birthday update by Hey Harry. I mean, it's designed by Hey Harry, and I thought that it looked suitable for this build because also for this build I kind of wanted to go with a not so modern but not so traditional build. It is kind of in the middle. I'm not sure what the term is. Maybe it's suburban. I'm not sure. Please let me know in the comments if you know. But this grandparents' bedroom also ends up having a perfume tray over there for the grandma because I imagine that she is such a glamorous old lady. So I just ended up adding that perfume bottle over there because I thought that it would suit perfectly for the personality of the grandma, who is a very fabulously or very like chic lady. But we are working on the grandson or granddaughter's bedroom right now, and I thought of I went with the color scheme of a mint green for the bed of the grandson or granddaughter, and I pretty much stayed consistent with the color scheme throughout the whole granddaughter or grandson's room because I wanted to make sure that everything looks consistent and well blended together, and there are not so much of vibrant colors or colors that stand out to make the bedroom look super awkward. So I just ended up using light colors like I said. And for the bathrooms of this build, also the bathroom in terms of the tiles and the wallpaper that I use is the same as the laundry room because like I said, I wanted to actually make the laundry room a half bathroom. But anyways, we are working on the exterior part over here, and I ended up adding that plant station like I said, which I think is not functional, but if it is, please let me know in the comments. I would totally appreciate it because I wouldn't know until now. And basically for the landscaping also, I didn't really know what to put like around the building because there wasn't a lot of space that I could deal with. So I ended up adding like those bushes over there and accompanied by a couple of plant pots, the round ones from the base game. And we are working on the last section over here, which is the outdoor sitting area or the porch sitting area, and it ends up having like very simple furniture, like a couple of outdoor furniture from the backyard stuff pack, I believe, also accompanied by a rocking chair because I thought that, you know, grandparents, rocking chairs, you know what I mean. But anyways, we are going to be approaching the end of the video soon, so I really hope you guys will like this build. If you do like it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!